Let us now start with decision trees. We will be using decision trees for classification, which essentially is whether, let's say, to bring one example, whether a customer is going to buy our product or he is not. So to classify whether one thing is going to happen or the other. But we'll also be using decision trees for a little while for doing regression, which was that if you have your stock market stock price and it goes something like this, then you put a regression line through it. This is what we classically have meant by regression so far. So we'll be using decision trees for both these applications. And I'm borrowing heavily for this material from Estonian Center of Applied Research, so I've got a lot of material from them. Thanks for that. Let us start by considering rules again. We did that in association rules already. A job seeker is trying to determine between several offers. They're differing by the distances from home, by various levels of pay and benefits. And now let's see that he comes up with some rules. One would be, if I have to commute longer than an hour, I'll be unhappy. The second one, if I make less than 50K a year, I won't be able to support my family. So with such rules, we might try to come to a final decision by applying them. And with association rules, we generated really a bunch of them to pick up interesting ones. With decision trees, we're also trying to analyze rules, but we kind of generate rules which all pertain to one specific criterion, like whether a person given this data on his job offer is going to choose this offer or not. So he's going to look through first perhaps the commuting, then perhaps the pay, and so forth. And finally, given the data on the job offer, he's going to come to a final conclusion. So we dwell into a set of rules that are all towards a common goal to, let's say, classify whether we accept the job or we do not. So what are the situations we're going to be looking at in this case? They all pertain to marketing. They mostly do classification, but even a little regression. And the first question we're going to tackle would be, does the customer purchase a product, yes or no? So kind of selling situation. Will the customer churn, yes or no? So once again, it's much easier to retain, try to retain a customer than to win him back. We'll also look at whether a web page visitor will become a paid subscriber. So we'll have weblog data. People are coming from different countries, from different sites to our site. They view a different number of pages, and they also perhaps read through the frequently asked questions. And now the question is, what do they choose? Are they premium, basic, no subscriber option? Which one is selected? We also are going to be looking, so kind of the purchase decisions, churn decisions, which kind of subscriptions are chosen. We're also going to be looking at how do we price the real estate we're planning to sell? Or in other words, is this building priced optimally on the market? So this is something, if we are given data on number of factors influencing the price of the house, and we're trying to calculate what the price of the house is, then this is something with the bachelor level studies you might have considered doing with basically regression. So you kind of put the regression, as it's called, hyperplane through the data, and you look at how to predict that market price. But now we're gonna do this marketing question with decision trees. Now, furthermore, what determines whether a movie is a critical success, a mainstream hit, or box office bust? So whether a movie is one of those three, and we'll look more deeply what they mean, is really essentially to discover these types is essentially a clustering question. So let's say that we have discovered there are three types of data, or even perhaps we have somehow determined those clusters from our human with our human intelligence. The question how to differentiate between them is essentially putting the decision trees on top of clustering, and this helps us deepen the understanding of the decision-making process. So really, something we would have done like in the end of clustering, where we consider those cities. We are now going to put again the decision trees on top of clustering results. Furthermore, how to distribute internal resources in a marketing campaign while electioneering, that is, such a campaign with the democratic elections coming up, what to do there. So all these questions we're trying to find an answer to. So let's take a look at our first situation. We have on x-axis for different movies the estimated budget, whether they've been cheap to produce or expensive. And on y-axis we have the number of A-list celebrities, how many have appeared in a movie. And when we look, we have kind of either done clustering to come up with three groups, or we've have a human specialist label those movies. And now, if you look at this stuff, let me draw some lines to show kind of neat ways of separating these three types. You can see there are green rectangles, blue triangles, and red circles here. So one way would be to look at this way. I'm going to draw a line from here. So this will nicely separate most of the red circles. And furthermore, let me draw another line. So this one will separate mostly the green rectangles and the blue triangles. So what did we just do? What we did was we essentially did decision trees, and let us first go through what was the result of the separation. So first of all, we can see that almost all the movies which have a small number of A-list celebrities, but differing levels of budget, are what the specialist or clustering has called box office busts. So there doesn't have to be so many A-list celebrities. They've produced a lot of money for us. Their budget varies, but this is the common thing. They're box office busts. When we look up there with movies that have a big list of a big number of A-list celebrities, the movies are divided twofold. If the number of celebrities and the estimated budget is big, then these are our mainstream hits. We took a big budget and we put a lot of celebrities in there, and that's what it is, a mainstream hit. If the budget is small, but there are A-list celebrities appearing in that movie, that's what you call a critical success movie. Okay. So now the question is, how does the decision tree do it? What are the other outcomes, and how can you do it even in a still more different way, other than decision trees? Here are the splits again, not drawn by hand, but on a computer graphic way. So those two splits, and now we're to the decision tree. So what happens here on the decision tree is that first of all we have a tree structure. So it kind of goes from here to here, and then it diverges furthermore here and to here and to here. So we do have a tree structure here, and there are branches. There is a root, which is where it all begins, and then there are branches. So how do we go about it? First of all, we have 30 movies, 10 of each kind: box office bust, mainstream hit, and critical success. Now, the question is how to differentiate between them. The first thing the decision tree does is it looks at the number of celebrities. If the number of celebrities is low, remember these were the red circles, then we're almost done with it. So what happens is if it says or classifies the number of celebrities as being low, then it automatically gets that there is like 10 box office busts there under this number of celebrities low, and we're by accident having a kind of a mishap there. There is one mainstream hit that's been classified as box office bust, and also one critical success that's been kind of wrongly classified. So such errors occur. Okay, now furthermore it finds that if the number of celebrities is high, then we have to look further. So we're still left with 9 critical successes and 9 mainstream hits. So now we have to look at the budget, and the budget can either be high or low. If the budget is low, then we're quite well off. We classify all those 8 with low budget as critical successes. When the budget is high, we're quite in a fine situation as well. We got 9 mainstream hits and 1 critical success that was unsuccessfully wrongly classified, and these are mainstream hits. So once again, what we saw here was a decision tree. We had decision nodes, which are essentially when you have to kind of make some kind of a decision based on the data. So the number of celebrities, you have to see where it is high, where it is low. This is the decision node, and all the data comes into the decision tree from here, from the top, and then you start sorting through it. Whichever film you take, the number can either be high or low, and then you go this way where it wants you to. Now we have branches, which is just what we looked at in the last move. These 2 branches here, and we have the root node we already looked at. This is where it all begins. And finally, when we're branching out here, and then we're branching out here and here, we're always going to be ending up in a kind of a leaf node, which is like the final end of it. So this is how decision trees do classification. They take the data, run it through the tree, and they end up starting from the root. They end up at a specific leaf. Well, there are 3 leaves here, at a specific leaf, which then tells you how to classify this data, the leaf node. So this is it.